Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
Come be a part of our organization. And if you have a loved one, please reach out. We'd be honored to honor your loved one.
They're called the Permian Basin Nurses Honor Guard, and they honor fallen nurses, much like the military and law enforcement. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have more information about this new group and the significance of it to the West Texas nursing community. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. And thanks to those of you who are joining us on our CBS 7 YouTube page. I'm Jay Hendricks, and we start tonight tracking crime. 3 people have been arrested in Midland after they robbed a convenience store at gunpoint. According to Midland Police, 19-year-old Leonel Maltos, 19-year-old Ivan Riojas walked into a convenience store on Midland Drive in Neely early yesterday morning. The two then held the cashier at gunpoint and forced them to open the cash drawer. Maltos and Riojas then got in their getaway car, a gold Jeep Compass, driven by 22-year-old Precios Perez. All 3 have been charged with aggravated robbery. Riojas and Maltos have also been charged with evading arrest. People living in Gardendale no longer need to boil their water before drinking or using it. Over the weekend, the Greater Gardendale Water Supply issued the notice after a main line break on County Road 52. The water system has been tested and does not need to be boiled. Last night, the Odessa City Council accepted almost $800,000 that will go toward Odessa fire rescue. In fact, OFR will use this money toward helping purchase more gear like bunkers, cameras, and air packs. They also received a $10,000 donation from an oil field company.
Well, it's huge because, as everybody knows, we're right here in the middle of the oil field. So we make a lot of responses to the oil field. We run on a lot of emergencies in the oil field. So anything that we can get to help us and help them is always a good thing.
Members of the Odessa City Council say they didn't hesitate to approve these donations.
Well, our public safety is our heroes. Without them, we have nothing. They're the ones that respond and come to our home in time of need. So it's important that we can take care of them, and helping our community is real important.
On top of these donations, the fire department will also receive additional funding for 58 new radios. In your education news, the MISD Bond Advisory Committee met for the first time to hear a report on the status of the 2023 MISD bond that passed earlier this month. The committee was introduced to their roles and responsibilities and will meet with district leaders quarterly to report on how the bond upgrades are going. As of right now, the new high schools are slated to be completed in 2029 and will cost $985 million and $200,200,000. The middle school upgrade should be finished in August of 2026 and will cost approximately $123,200,000. And the new elementary school is aimed to be completed by 2025 with a price tag of $53,300,000. Currently, packages for upgrades to aging facilities and the district's safety and security are being developed and heading toward the design phases. Both packages are expected to be completed in August of 2028. Now, for more information on the planning committee, you can go to our website at CBS7.com. Now to a story you'll only see here on CBS 7. Ordinarily, you would find a 7-year-old maybe playing soccer or even video games, but Kyler Herrera is no ordinary 7-year-old. In fact, he's a bull rider and he's competing at a high level. Kyler has been riding bulls for the last 3 years and over that time has racked up some hardware from all over the country.
Las Vegas, and Cactus, and Cowtown. Just do what I do.
In Texas, Kyler Herrera is ranked in the top 5 for ages 8 and under in bull riding and has no plans of slowing down anytime soon.
He just has the heart for it. You know, we see a lot of kids coming out of the sport. Very few has what it takes to continue as they grow into the bigger, older, wilder bulls, you know. And he just continues to just want it more and more. So watching him progress from size to different bulls and from calves and all that. You know, it's just a great experience, and hope to continue to see him going with it.
Kyler hopes to keep his spot in the top 5 and continue the sport of bull riding for a long time. We're talking weather forecast now as we move closer to the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Tom Teeverteller joined us. Tom, we saw a warm up today, but now we get ready for some strong winds coming.
Yeah, wind is in the forecast for tomorrow. But first off, though, we're going to deal with some clouds. Some low clouds are starting to build in. As we take a look at the West Texas view of the satellite and radar, we are seeing that southeasterly winds are bringing in a little more Gulf moisture across the area. Looking outside, we're seeing cooler temperatures already. Excuse me, moving in, I'll tell you, in the allergies too on these southeasterly winds, as we'll see temperatures in the upper 40s right now across the Midland, Odessa area. And again, some southeasterly winds out there moving in too across portions of the Permian Basin. So secure those decorations. Start off with the low clouds in the morning, but then here comes the wind in our forecast, all thanks to a cold front that's going to bring a little bit of cooler weather on the way for the latter part of the week and for the Parade of Lights this weekend, which you can watch with us live in downtown Odessa or on KWWT My 30.
It is that time of year again, time for Tom's Coast, and as the temperatures drop, many of you may struggle to stay warm. That's why Chief Meteorologist Tom Teeverteller is hosting his annual coat drive. We're looking for gently used or new jackets or sweaters for the drive. You can donate those jackets and coats to the locations listed there on your screen. They're also posted up on our website. Just go to CBS7.com. With the holiday season comes the giving season, and you can now give some holiday joy through the Midland Police Department's Blue Santa Toy Drive. This morning, the Midland Police Department visited Classic Honda of Midland, which is one place you can drop off toy donations. All donations will be given to children at the High Sky Children's Ranch, as well as the Battered Women's Center.
Local law enforcement and children, in education, those are what weigh the most to me and what are the most important to me in building a great community. It's a time for giving, it's time for hope, it's time to give back to our community and to people who need it.
To see a list of places you can donate to Blue Santa, you can go to our website, CBS7.com. With the holidays in full swing, a lot of people are having trouble staying in shape. If people are digesting their Thanksgiving meal from last week, exercising may not be high on the list, but it can actually help you combat the holiday weight by burning the calories. It's important to have a daily plan throughout the week to work out.
Once you find a plan, find a routine, or find a contingency plan as well, once you set and tone that, I believe it's easier to follow with your goals.
Granado also says exercising during the Christmas season can ease the holiday stress. Also, it can help combat holiday depression.
I believe by surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, that's what we do here. We preach a lot about our community here. Everybody with the right mindset, you like being inside the same gym, inside the same four walls, same goals as people, and that motivates a lot of people to be here.
Also, if you don't have a gym membership, he says that it's that you should not worry. Taking a walk outside or even jogging around your neighborhood can be just as beneficial to your health. A group of medical center hospital nurses want to ensure that no nurse is forgotten, and that's why they're providing free honor guard services to families of nurses who have passed away. They pay tribute to nurses much like the military or law enforcement. The honor guard wears traditional white uniforms with a blue cape, which is lined with red. During wartime, it was flipped to avoid being shot as they treated soldiers. The volunteers say nursing is a calling and service, and it deserves respect from colleagues who are more often like family.
We give so much. We're in this profession because we care. So when we lose someone, we care, and it's just a way to honor them. And the family gets that honor to know that their loved one was loved by more than just their family.
Their services are totally free. The nurses will stand guard at the viewing or at the door as a nurse passes. They can also participate in the funeral service or escort the nurse to the hearse or to the funeral for their grave.
We stood honors for one of our nurses last week. We stood there for a couple of hours until she passed, and it was very emotional. It was amazing in the same way because we were there for the family and for other fellow nurses.
Any nurse or nursing student is welcome to join. You can seek their services or join by visiting the Permian Basin Nurses Honor Guard Facebook page. Centers for Children and Families hosted a luncheon as part of their mental health awareness series today, discussing intergenerational trauma. In fact, there were several panelists as well as guest speaker Dr. Mary Barbie, a licensed clinical psychologist. She says events like these are important to educate others to heal and get hard conversations started.
The thing about intergenerational trauma, it goes across cultures. It really is caused by societal actions, and it's about becoming aware of this and knowing it, and then we can move forth to heal and treat it.
Another talking point at the luncheon was withholding judgment of others to better understand their stories. Now to an update on Texas's abortion law, one of the most restrictive abortion laws in the country. This week, the state Supreme Court is hearing arguments for a case that could determine how the state's strict abortion law affects medically complicated pregnancies. A lower court already ruled the abortion law should not apply to those cases, but the state appealed the decision, leading to Tuesday's hearing. Earlier this year, a district judge outlined when abortion should be allowed to protect the life of the mother. Today, attorneys for the state of Texas argued the district judge overstepped because they believe the law is already clear enough. Instead, the state suggested some of the women should be suing their doctors.
Standing here alongside me, she's a fabulous doctor. She has gotten me through 2 pregnancies, one of which was clearly horribly traumatic, and she is standing here right beside me. That is a good doctor. That is not the person I should be suing here. I place the blame firmly at the feet of the state.
The Texas Alliance for Life pushed back, saying any clarification on the law should come from the state's medical board.
We are here today because we support the pro-life laws in Texas, and we believe that the language is adequate to protect a mother's life.
The Texas Supreme Court is expected to make a decision by June of next year. Now for a look at today's top headlines, shown here in real time with real viewers at CBS7.com. See all of these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website at CBS7.com. Still ahead, an Israeli American is among the latest group of hostages released from Hamas. Coming up, we hear from hostage families who are still waiting for answers. That's coming up here on CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. A second American Israeli citizen has been released from captivity in Gaza. as the end of the 6-day ceasefire looms. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived in Israel amid last-minute international talks to try to extend the pause in the war again. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is in Washington with the very latest.
As the clock ticked down on the 6-day truce deal, Hamas freed 16 hostages Wednesday in exchange for 30 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. The IDF said a group of 10 Israeli women and children and 4 Thai nationals were among those returned to Israel, including Liat Benin, a 49-year-old Israeli-American dual citizen.
I talked with her mother and father. They're very appreciative.
Her husband, Aviv, is still captured in Gaza. And getting him out of Gaza is a more complex issue than getting women and children out.
It's still an agonizing wait for so many hostage families. Some of them took part in a roundtable Wednesday here on Capitol Hill.
Time is running out.
Another parent, Ronan Nutra, says his son was serving in the IDF on the border with Gaza when the Hamas terror attack changed everything.
As a descendant of Holocaust survivors on both sides, both me and my wife, he understood the importance of strong Israel.
As for the youngest hostage, Hamas claims 10-month-old Kafir, his 4-year-old brother Ariel, and their mother Shiri were all killed in an Israeli strike in Gaza. A Hamas spokesperson tells CBS News they're willing to provide evidence of their deaths. The IDF briefed the Bibas family and said they are still investigating those claims. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Wednesday's exchange brings the total number of hostages freed during the truce to 97, with about 150 still detained.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, take a look at high temperatures today. We're going to see a lot more of this in our forecast. Lower 60s look to be on the way here over the next few days. So a little on the cool side, especially after the sun sets. We drop down to the 50s rather quickly. Big wind maker on the way. It starts with this trough low pressure across the western U.S. It's going to sweep across to our north, but drop a cool front into the area. I should say a cold front this time of the year, but it is going to be a wind maker as low pressure is going to set up across portions of the Texas Panhandle and move across. We are seeing mid to high level Pacific moisture occasionally stream across with these high clouds out there. But right now, though, we're dealing with some southeasterly winds as that low pressure starts to draw in lots of air. Well, that's picking up some Gulf moisture, and that's going to lead the way to some low cloudiness in our forecast overnight tonight. Right now across the state of Texas, there's that storm system starting to wind up a little bit here across portions of eastern Colorado, northeastern New Mexico. There's a trailing cool front. As this trough low pressure starts to set up for tomorrow, that's really going to start to bring in some blustery conditions. Chilliest in the state right now across the Permian Basin. We're at 48, 53 in Del Rio as we have plenty of clouds from South Texas again moving up along the Rio Grande. Now the West Texas Futurecast shows that thicken up into the early morning hours before we see that trough low pressure move across. Here comes some gusty winds and some clearing skies associated with it for tomorrow afternoon. The winds are going to be the big story out there as we'll have them a little gusty overnight tonight, but then starting in the mountain areas, things get rather strong in the way of winds, gusts to 40 plus across many locations, and that'll spread into parts of the Permian Basin for the afternoon. So secure those Christmas decorations outdoors, any loose objects. Be sure to tie them down or bring them on in because we're going to be dealing with some strong winds tomorrow afternoon. Again, take a look at that forecast for the overnight hours, dropping down into the mid 40s for the most part across the area tomorrow, holding into the mid 60s as those gusty west winds roll in. A little breezy for the start of your Friday, but overall pretty quiet and a good looking weekend, just a little on the cool side for the Parade of Lights coming up in Odessa on Saturday, and really going to keep this weather pattern all the way through next week. Occasional cool fronts keeping us in the lower 60s. Starbright Village coming up on Thursday in Odessa, looking at some cool conditions by then. And then the Jingle Bell Jubilee Parade in Midland next week from this coming Saturday. Also looking a hint on the cool side.
Still ahead, we are talking basketball and hockey. We'll tell you how two local teams are doing on the court and the rink. Next, here on CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW.
Time now for CBS 7 First Alert Sports.
Odessa College women's basketball finding their groove now, winning 8 games in a row. In fact, the OC is ranked number 17 in the country. The Wranglers have 2 home games later this week.
They're playing for more than just the name on their back, but the name on their chest. And so building that culture, building that pride, I think we're finally getting there. So I'm really proud of them in that regard. And I just think we got to get better in some things, but I'm really proud of where we're heading. We can't peak too early, and I think we're right where we need to be right now.
Odessa plays at 6 p.m. Friday and 1 p.m. Saturday at home. The Odessa Jackalopes also home this week. In fact, Odessa won its most recent game 6-3 over Amarillo on Sunday. This week they host the El Paso Rhinos. These teams have already played 6 times this season.
They're a really good team this year. We play them really tough. They play us really tough. There's been a couple of fights, so I would kind of expect the same thing this weekend. So make sure you come out because it should be pretty entertaining with some fireworks.
It's awesome too because you get all the fans here in Odessa that come out and support you, and it's just no better feeling than being home, driving to the rink in your own car versus on a bus, and it's amazing.
Puck drop is at 7:15 on Friday and Saturday night inside the Ector County Coliseum. For more local sports coverage, be sure to tune in to CBS 7 News at 10 tonight for sports with Jacob Brandenburg. All right, before we go, highway signs designed to make you laugh while delivering an important message about driving safety. Some of the highway signs read "Reckless drivers are worse than fruitcake," or "Only Rudolph should be lit." Similar signs were taken down by the Federal Highway Traffic Safety Administration this time last year, saying the signs were too distracting. But this year, the Department of Transportation says they're toning it down, saying, quote, "We are being mindful of the kind of messages we put up so that they're not too edgy or what is considered distracting."
Edgy.
Edgy.
That's an interesting way to describe
that's
highway
their
sign.
terminology. They're just trying to get the word out.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, though, back here in West Texas.
Yep.
Back home, we are going to be looking at a few clouds to wake up to in the morning. Then here comes the wind tomorrow, and I can't stress enough. Everybody's got a lot of Christmas decorations out. Be sure to secure those or bring them on in.
All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 10.